Welcome to Real Estate Grad School. We coach experienced real estate agents to create and build the habits and systems that rapidly increase your income, build your team, and allow you a much greater peace of mind. I'm Rich Levin. I've been coaching experienced real estate agents for over 20 years to exceptional success. Come and learn. Because there's a very costly problem that's occurring for many agents. And this problem always occurs in a shifting market. And over the last year, we've shifted from a market, as a matter of fact, it's just about a year, when interest rates began rising. Literally about a year and 2 months ago, last February, March, rates were under 4%, and then by April, they were 4 or 5. They went over 4. By September, they were over 6. And since last November, they've been hovering between 6.5 and 7 pretty consistently. I like a site called Mortgage News Daily to check rates. I won't check it right now, but mortgagenewsdaily.com. So in the transitioning market, this problem always occurs. And the problem is that buyers and or sellers, depending on the situation, buyers and sellers become frustrated. They become frustrated for a lot of different reasons. Buyers were frustrated before because they couldn't get their offers accepted. So buyers being frustrated wasn't an unusual problem. But for about a year or two, year and a half, from about last March 2022, back for about a year and a half, the houses, well, actually it's a lot longer, this number of years, maybe 4 or 5 years, houses were selling so quickly that, if buyers knew if they didn't take the offer that was they didn't offer above asking price and get an offer when it became accepted, they were going to have a tough time buying a house. That was an easier market. Well, when most people have become frustrated, they make the easiest possible decision, which is to do nothing. For buyers, they mean, we're just not going to stop looking. You can't get a house, we're going to stop looking. We keep losing offers, we're going to stop looking. For sellers, it means, we're just going to rent the house. We're going to take it off the market. We're not going to make the move. And that's what happens with buyers and sellers. That's the problem that occurs. The problem that occurs for agents is agents not having the skills to help people move past those decisions. Now, sometimes you can't help people move past those decisions. They can no longer afford a house, so they have to stay. They have to stay in the house they're in. They have to stay in a rental. They can no longer make the move they want to make. They can no longer buy a more expensive house, so they might as well stay. There's lots of reasons, but many times those are legitimate reasons. But when it's really not in the best interest of the client, when your buyer's going to stop looking and it's a mistake on their part, because by the time they get back to looking, houses are going to cost more and rates are not going to be any lower. Or a seller who decides to take their house off the market and that they still need to sell, that their reasoning behind selling is going to come back around and they're going to end up coming back on the market in a more difficult market. So the point is, when it's the best possible decision for the person, they know it too. It's just frustration that's causing them to give up. You need to have the skills, the communication skills, the selling skills, to be able to move people, to help people make their own best decision. And I'm talking to a lot of my one-on-one clients who are running into this. So when agents are faced with this problem of a buyer deciding to give up or a seller deciding to give up, the average and mediocre agent does not know what to do. So the average agent or mediocre agent doesn't know what to do. The skilled agent leads the person back into the frame of mind that they had when they were motivated. The skilled agent gets the person to be thinking again, remembering, feeling for why they wanted to make this move, why they wanted to buy the house, why they wanted to get out of the apartment, why they wanted to get out of the parents' basement, whatever it is. The skilled agent leads the person back into the frame of mind that they had when they were motivated. You can learn this skill. You can learn this skill of remotivating to remotivate. They had motivation, you're bringing it back. Remotivate a buyer or seller but it takes more than a day or two to learn this skill. It takes more than a day or two because you have to put into practice what you learn. You have to learn this skill, just like learning a sport or learning a hobby, learning a new job. You have to learn it and then put it into practice and then learn on the job and make mistakes and learn more. You have to put this into practice with your actual buyers and sellers. But we're going to start your education, or if you've had this skill in the past, your re-education on this skill of moving people to make their best decision when they're resisting it. We're going to begin this skill today. So first thought is, you have someone who's decided not to buy, won't take the offer, won't reduce their price. They're not making a good decision. They're making the wrong decision. So I'm talking not about when you want to manipulate people and get them to make a wrong decision, but when you know the right thing and you need and want to lead people to do the right thing. That's what we're talking about. When you work to lead a buyer to keep looking for a home, to stick with their desire to purchase a home because it's the right thing for them to do, you have to fully believe, you have to fully know that it's the best decision for that person to buy at this time. Now, today we're not going to get into the details of this, but let's just mention a few things. Why would it be the right time to buy at this time? Interest rates are at 6.5 or 7. They were down at 3 and 4. Aren't they going to go back down there? Shouldn't we wait for that? Prices have peaked, and now with interest rates higher, doesn't it make sense that prices will come down? You have to believe that if rates do come down, prices will just rise even faster. You have to believe, and that is true, by the way, but you have to believe it, not just take my word for it. You have to believe, you have to understand and believe that if rates stay high, but the demand is what it is right now, where there's still multiple offers, in many markets, prices are going to continue to rise. Now, in some markets where there's a lot of inventory, growing inventory, there aren't multiple offers anymore, houses are not selling quickly, in those markets, prices will come down, and each market will be different. So in some of those markets, you'd make different decisions. When you believe it's the right decision, you have to really believe it's the best decision for the people, or you have to let them know, lead them to the best decision, and the best decision may be to put it on hold. Most time right now, it's not. So do you believe that it's the best time? It's maybe not the best time, but that it's a good enough time that it's smart for people to be buying right now. If you don't believe that, I want to push you really hard. I want to encourage you to understand the reasoning for that. If you don't believe that, if you're a coaching client, get on a live call. Let's talk about why you believe it's the best time. In fact, we may discuss that today. Why it's the best time, or it's still a very good time to buy a house, and why it would be a mistake to wait. Or if people are selling a house, why it is the best time for a certain person. Why? Why do you need to believe? Why is this the best time? Rather than to rent, or rather the best time to buy rather than to rent, or the best time to buy the next home. And for some people, it's not the best decision. For other people, it is. I'm holding back relating a story to you that I had with an agent just yesterday about this very thing. So those answers, you really believing why it's the best time to buy or why it's the best time to sell for individual people, are one of the two keys to your skill in leading people to the right decision. So leading, convincing, influencing, yes, it is manipulating people to their best decision, has two keys. Okay, so I want to be really clear. We're talking about, let's not hide it. We're talking about changing someone's mind, or changing someone's mind back to what it was. And using these skills, you can convince people to do things. You can influence them. You can manipulate them. You may say, well, I don't want to do that. But if it's a person's not acting in their best interest, the person's making a decision that's not good for them, then you absolutely want to have this skill. The difference between a con man, a bad guy or girl or woman, and a good guy or girl or woman is their intention. Do you really believe you're doing best for the other person? When you want to lead the person to the best decision for them, there's two keys. One is, as I just said, knowing and sincerely believing that you know what's best for the people. Now, who are you to know? Because you ask questions, because you probe, because you learn to understand their situation, which is exactly the second key. Leading people to that decision with questions. The first question is finding out, what is the person's situation? Why are they moving? Where are they moving? Ideally, when do they want to move? What's going on? So that you can know that it is the best decision for the people. And then you find out why they think it's the best decision. You may educate them as to more reasons. Over time with me, you'll learn all of this. I wanted to introduce this topic today because before we were in a market where the buyers if they wanted to buy, they knew they were going to be in competition. They had to buy whatever they could. The sellers could sell their house for more than they wanted, literally way over asking price. So you didn't have to lead people to decisions. The decisions were obvious. And then over the last year, with the higher interest rates, people started to question those things. And we need to be their best advocate for the right answers to those questions. So here's the scenario. You found an off-market house for your buyer. Your buyer made an offer on that house. So it's not on the market. We're making calls or sending letters around in a neighborhood where you had a buyer, somebody responded, and yeah, they do want to sell. And your buyer, you got a commission agreement with that seller, did not list it, just got a commission agreement. If I sell it to this buyer, you will pay me X amount of commission. And your buyer made an offer on the house, and the seller said, I'll take the offer. Now that's a mistake. I don't like verbal acceptances. I think you need to put an offer in writing, take it to the seller, get it signed. Send it to the seller, get it signed. But too many people, many agents, get verbal acceptances. And then sometimes this happens. Before it was actually signed, the seller received a higher offer. Somebody else found out. Neighbors saw people coming to see the house and said, you selling the house? I have a friend who may want. And all of a sudden, somebody else, the sellers received the higher offer, and they accepted the higher offer, even though they'd accepted your offer verbally. But we know in real estate, verbal doesn't cut it. The law does not support verbal. So before it was signed, the seller received a higher offer and accepted. When told about it, the buyers spoke about it and convinced themselves. You know what? They didn't like the neighborhood anyway. They were just settling. And the house really wasn't worth it. It didn't have a master bedroom bath, and it really wasn't worth the price they expect. For the price they were going to pay, it should have a master bedroom bath. And then the seller called the agent. It's a true scenario. And the seller said, hey, the buyers who made the offer that we accepted backed out, and we want to take the first buyers off. But when you call the first buyers, they're adamant. They are no way. They don't want to buy the house now because in addition to the problems with the neighborhood and the lack of a master bedroom, they're going to wait for the rates to come down and the prices to come down. What do you do in that situation? We'll be looking at that scenario as well as others, so you can become very good at selling. And by selling, I mean leading, convincing, influencing. I don't mean just putting deals together. Less skilled people can do. When I say selling, I mean you have to move people to the best decision on their part, knowing what you believe is best for them, confirming that they really do see it's best for them, and then leading them to that best decision. So tomorrow, we're going to get back to the topic of your best daily schedule, and we'll keep revisiting your sphere mailings at least until the end of May. And we'll keep returning to this topic of leading buyers and sellers to their best decisions in listings, in purchases, in pricing, in all negotiations. In addition, you guys have asked me to cover the topic of getting listing appointments and lead generation specifics. So through the spring and the summer, fall, got lots of good topics to come to. We'll start and finish. Please God, we all are living healthy and are together enough. We'll cover all of them. But I wanted to introduce this topic of today and say, don't give up so easily. You can move people to make their best decision with whatever skills you have right now. And I want you to develop those skills. I expect that you enjoyed the video. and got value from it. The agents that coach with me increase their income on average by 75% per year, year after year. And that means many of them are earning an absolutely exceptional income. So if you're interested to have a conversation to coach with me, just click on the link below. I'd look forward to speaking with you.